Hello friends and neighbors, it's your friendly neighborhood gearman dude here with his helpful hints. Why am I referring to myself in the third person? Because it's lonely in here and sometimes I do that. Anyway, I'm going to show you how to change strings quickly on a Stratocaster if, and only if, you don't really use the tremolo. Now I lock mine down usually with a lot of springs or whatever I got to do to make sure that that sucker's not coming up. That way I can change these strings really quick because I'm going to be able to take them all off at the same time and put them all on at the same time. Now, if you are a whammier, a whammy bar, a wiggler, or a jiggler, yeah, you're probably not going to dig this video. Anyway, you don't need much. You need a pair of clippers, wire cutters, yes, some sort of a tuner, and some sort of a string winder. This is, your semi-manual. This is your semi-automatic string winder. Yeah, it's cool. See this little attachment? Goes on any drill. Yep, very handy. I'm going to use DR strings because that's what I dig. You can use whatever you want. Here we go. So the first thing we'll do obviously is take off the strings. Yes, you could use one of these guys, which is like your average music store string winder. Loosen them up, or you could use one of these guys, which is for the super lazy guy like myself. You can get these little things at music stores too, and they go right into your cordless drill. And then you don't have to take quite as long. So I'm going to use that and try and talk over it while I'm doing it. There's a lot of guitars where you don't want to take off all the strings at once, and especially guitars like this, Stratocaster. So don't do this. I'm joking, of course. I can do this because I've got my trim locked all the way down where I'm not actually using the whammy bar. If you are using the whammy bar, you're going to want to do this one string at a time. So the way I do it, I take them all out, throw them away, start fresh with a nice set of DR Pure Blues. You can use any strings you want. I just happen to prefer the DR because they're the best. Yeah. Anyway, we take them out. I do have a trash can. I'm not just throwing them on the floor. But you can throw them on the floor if you'd like. It's fine. When I was a little kid, we would plant them on the floor at a place that I took guitar lessons. And while we were taking lessons, we would always kind of say prayers to the rock gods that my teacher's dad would walk downstairs barefoot and step on one of our guitar string landmines. Those were good times. So what I'm doing, I'm putting all of the strings in through the back of the guitar. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe. Sending them all through, just getting them set up. Again, let me re-emphasize that my methods are not necessarily the best methods. This is just how I do it quickly. Because usually when I've got a gig or something to string guitars for, I need to do more than one guitar. So I kind of go speed version, or as some people would call it, roadie version. Yes, guitar tech that has to do a bunch of guitars. This is probably what they do as well. Maybe not. Who knows? Okay, so got all my strings through. Now I'm going to take each one. Doesn't matter, starting with either one. I'm going to take it up and just kind of eyeball it and go about 2 tuners past the tuner. So 1, 2. Again, just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be an exact measurement, but somewhere close to that is nice. I go through, I do each one of them. We're almost there, friends and neighbors. And then I take each string. I'm going to start with the low E. There is a hole in this slot here. This is a vintage style Strat tuner. Take each one, Poke it down in there till it hits some resistance. Bend it over, and you got to go clockwise. You must go clockwise. And then I just keep a little tension on it with this finger right here on my right hand. Keep a little tension and just guide it so that the string wind goes down to the bottom, not up. I hope that makes sense. You want your string wind on the bottom of the wrap, not on the top. And then I just give it some tension. Nothing specific, just a little bit of tension to hold it in place. I go through and I do that for each string. Bend it, crimp it, tighten. I'm doing it the lazy way right now because I'm lazy. All right, keep going. Bend it, crimp it, wrap it. I usually wrap it like 1.5 times, whatever I can get away with, depending on how much slack I have. I am letting it drop into the nut slot each time. That would be right here. This is the nut of the guitar in each one of them. Each string has its own slot it goes into. Hence the name nut slot. Okie doke. So, back to manual. Well, actually, it's still not manual because this is a tool. So, back to non-manual. Manual would be doing it just by hand, which you can do as well. But you always have to make sure to keep tension on this string with your hand. Just by tension, I just mean hold it and let it slide through your fingers while you're tightening. Once again, this is so that the wrap goes on the bottom, rolling up. Don't forget, you want to go clockwise with your wind when you go through the top and wind it. If you go the opposite way, the forces of evil won't necessarily present themselves, but I've heard rumors you can break your strings really easily if you go the wrong way because your tension is incorrect. So the last one, put it in, crimp it, turn it, tighten it. Now all I've done is just put a little bit of tension on each string, nothing in tune. So you see, first thing that I do is I like to stretch it just a little bit. So I give each one a little yank, nothing major, just a little bit. It's going to help bring that wind up right here. Then I start to tune it to pitch. I usually do it by ear. I just know that that's close to an E because I've done this like 20 million times. Okay, I'm still not in tune. I'm going to yank them some more. And actually, I'm going to take this hand, I'm going to move it off screen because I actually like to do my yanking and my stretching of strings further down. I was just doing it up here so that you could see, but the stretching of strings, do that this way, further down the neck. So this is stretch number 1, stretching the strings, actually stretch number 1.5. That first one didn't really count. Once again, just tuning it to ear. There's all kinds of tuners out there. There's clip-on tuners. There's a million tuners you can do on your phone actually. I've got this one right here. See if you can see that. Anyway, I'm still just tuning, stretching the strings, not paying too much attention to how close I'm in or out of tune. Just enough so that when I stretch it, it stretches the string flat again. By flat, I mean the pitch goes lower. Alright, so now we're going to go in for the real tune. The tuning of the guitar, that is. I'm using just this cheap Tune Tech clip-on tuner. You don't have to plug in. You don't need to be electrified. It works on acoustics and electrics. There's a million different kinds. There's the Snark. There's, oh, I don't know. I might even have one of those around here. Oh, look, I do. Check it. Hello, Snark. They're all about the same technology, in my opinion. I like this style because it's got a needle that you can see. So let's go. It's going to sense whatever note I pluck, which on this one is the low E string, but it thinks it's a D sharp. So we got to tune it up. And as we do, we'll see that needle move across. We're still flat. We want to get that needle right in the middle. Still just a little flat. Now we're sharp, but I have a sneaking suspicion that's going to be okay. So my A string was flat and it thinks it's a G, but it's not. We need to get to an A. So I just kind of pluck it, tune while I'm watching, get that needle in the middle, good to go. Moving on to the next string, D. To the G. Once again, I'm just putting it into close tuning. I'm going to go back in for the last tuning here once I've got all the strings tuned, because once they're all tuned and they get to a certain tension, forgot what I was going to say. Oh, get to a certain tension, it can shift the rest of the guitar. So, the final tune. Here we go, low E. Little flat. Remember it was sharp before? So the tension did move. A. A lot of these tuners will change colors when you have it right in tune. I guess in theory that's even better than the one I'm using. But the one I'm using is the one I had on hand. Maybe I'll do another with those other tuners. People like when things change colors. I must admit, I am a person, and I know these things. Okay, so we are tuned up. Turn the tuner off, take it off because it looks ridiculous on your guitar. We are good to go. And there you have it, we've tuned her up. Should be good to go. Let's find out. Sounds good to me. Play a few chords on it. Or if you're a dad stringing this up for your kid, take it into him, present it, tuned, new strings, and blow his fragile eggshell mind, or hers. Alright, thanks for checking it out. Gearman Dude's helpful tips, how to change your strings on your Strat. Rock!